From Grove Studios in Ypsilanti, I'm John Bommarito. It's another edition of Acoustic Alternatives, the video podcast to go along with the video playlist and the radio show that happens with the same name. Grove Studios, I just showed King Margo what it looks like, the Grove Studios rentable space for your band practice, your DJ practicing, or even a podcast like this, all available to do right here in Ypsilanti, and a very affordable and convenient 24/7 operation. It's a cool place. I'm so glad that they've offered this space to me to do a podcast. It's close to home for me, and I like what comes out of it. So I'm welcoming this time to the podcast a duo that's now a trio this time anyway, that I last visited with in a studio back in 2017 when the name of the band was still Bashville.
Wow.
Oh, man.
I know. I look these things up sometimes.
It's good because we can't remember anything anymore.
No.
Well, you've been at it a while. It's 5 years, a 5-year-old project. And for the anagram lovers in the audience, Ascot Tacos would be another band name.
Ascot.
Forgot about Ascot.
What is
Oh,
Ascot?
I did.
It's a
like
sweater.
a hat. Oh, I thought it was a hat.
Isn't it a sweater, an ascot?
Well, at least it's
Maybe
an article
it is.
of clothing.
It's like a fancy. Is it a fancy sweater?
I think it's a fancy sweater.
Yeah.
With
it
this
is.
little
It's like a British
checkerboards.
thing. Yeah.
Wow, missed opportunity.
Ascot Tacos is your other name.
Ascot.
How did you arrive at King Margo versus Bashville? I don't.
Bashville was a really fun name, and a lot of folks loved it, but we did run into a conflict with somebody else that was already under that in a recording setting.
Sure.
And so, yeah, we were on the prowl for a new name.
And how did
We
King?
had some lists.
We did. There were a lot that we were going to choose from, but King Margo just kind of like popped at the top, mostly because it was from a show we were watching at the time that we're still both fairly obsessed with, called The Magicians.
Oh, okay.
It was a sci-fi network
It is. Yeah.
show, and the character Margo just has an incredible story arc, and the name itself, unfortunately, is a bit of a spoiler.
But it's okay. It's worth it.
That's okay. Yeah.
She becomes a king, elected by a bunch of
Animals.
I promise it's really good.
Well, the anagram joke only works if I actually introduce who's here. Rachel Coates, Lucciana Costa, and sideman John Hollier.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today, John. So that's
John Ascot.
John Ascot.
That's the requirement to be in the band.
You gotta have a name that's
You
right. So one album out so far, something new coming soon. Would you like to play from the forthcoming as we go further into this interview, starting with the song, though?
Yeah, would love to.
What would you start with?
Let's play Dishes Ain't Done. If I was faster than the fastest man, I'd pull my last dollar from the coffee can. I'd show a person bleeding all over your door. I'd buy you a cold one from the dollar store. Honey, can't you see? The sleep won't come and the dishes ain't done. What you got is me.
Couldn't hardly walk for wearing all that gold. Well, that magazine has to be bought and sold. Phone would be ringing at 2:45. Whoa, waking up the baby on live TV. Honey, can't you see? Sleep won't come and the dishes ain't done. What you got is me. If I was richer than the richest girl, well, I'd learn how to curtsy, I'd learn how to
running my fingers through my shiny blonde hair. We'd take a little walk, even the dogs would stare. We'd order all our food from a hotel bed. Oh, cashing in checks we ain't even read. You hold my hand when I get scared to fly. Ain't no one ever made to be up that high. Honey, can't you see? The sleep won't come and the dishes ain't done. What you got is me. Oh, you know it's true. When the dogs ain't fed and the bills ain't paid, I'm looking at you. Here's looking at you.
Nice. Dishes Ain't Done, the title of the song.
That's
and
right.
King Margo, the band, here in the studio of Grove Studios on Acoustic Alternatives. From one of the tracks from the forthcoming album due out on September 2nd, is that right?
That's correct.
Waters Rise.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into the chatting. But what I like to do when I do these podcasts is dig into the humans that are behind the songs a little bit further than just talking about the music that's got on the horizon or that's just been released. So, Luch, I'm going to start with you because I've known you the longest.
Yeah.
You used to come visit me at the radio station that I used to work at. Your parents would come and bring hot chocolate to Rockin' for the Hungry. I mean, there's no way I can forget the kindness when you're standing out in the cold for 5 days and somebody brings you hot chocolate. Never forgotten. So, Mama Costa's still part of the videos I see from time to time.
Oh yeah. she was in the room last night. She got a shout out at the Arc.
I heard. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to run into her, but tell me a little bit about growing up in Ann Arbor for you and how it formed you musically.
Ooh. I mean, gosh, like there were so many resources available growing up in Ann Arbor. I think like I loved country music, and living in Michigan, that like at first seemed like a really weird, it's like, oh, nobody likes country music. I was like, I'm not going to talk about this in like middle school because everyone was into like pop and Justin Timberlake. And I was like, I'm not going to admit that I love the Dixie Chicks. But when I did kind of find the Dixie Chicks and discovered the dobro, the instrument, the dobro through them, like over at Oz's Music, they had one dobro in the whole town. I like searched everywhere and they had this one slide guitar. I was like, this is awesome. I'm going to buy it with my own money. And my parents were sick of me like trying new instruments at that point. Like, you're done. Like, we're cutting you off. We're not paying for this. No. And they were like so supportive, but that was like the final straw because it was like my 8th instrument. So I was like, all right, I'm going to buy it myself. And really did fall in love with it genuinely. But meeting people in the community that just kind of like welcomed me into band situations, even being like a literal 12-year-old, was so incredible. Like they just, because I mean, no one was playing dobro, and there really was like a robust Americana scene in town that I'll be honest, I'm not even sure how I like met everybody. I think some of it was through the Arc, like open mic at the Arc, and just kind of showing up and meeting people, and they were just so warm and open-minded and open-hearted and let me join their bands. And I learned almost everything I'm still using today, like through working with them when at such a young age. So
strangely, my first impressions of you, and I don't think of you playing stringed instruments, is piano. I mean,
I
still think of you as a piano player in my head.
Yeah.
Because when you did a solo session for me, you covered Ben Folds and you did your own material.
That was my very serious Ben Folds era.
Yeah.
So it started out as like a string band thing, and then kind of it was like when the Dixie Chicks got ostracized from country music, I was really mad about it as like a teenager, and I was like, okay, fine. And then it was high school, so I was getting super into like indie rock and that whole scene, and yeah, then I fell in love with the piano because I started writing on the piano. Like I never wrote on dobro or guitar or anything like that, so kind of understanding how much I loved songwriting was through the piano. So I really
piano, guitar, and dobro.
Yeah.
Is that it? I mean, that's not enough. I'm just asking. I play 0 of those. So.
Those are the main ones. There's ukulele. I really want to be a drummer. That's like my secret someday.
Piano. Piano is a drummer gateway.
It totally is.
Ben was a drummer before he was a piano player.
I know. And then he throws drums in a lake. And I was
Yes.
like, I just want to be that cool.
You are that cool.
I appreciate that.
I've always thought you were cool. I don't know that I've ever asked this question, but the last name has got lineage in music. Nika and Don are well-known musicians, Don Costa and Nika Costa. Is there any relationship? You're giving me a blank stare, like, I don't know a Nika Costa or a
Well,
Don Costa.
so my grandfather was a professional jazz musician, but I don't know.
Don Costa played with Sinatra, and Nika Costa was like a 2000s-ish person who had a hit called Everybody's Got Their Something.
Really?
Yeah, never mind.
I
Apparently
don't
not
think we're related, but, I'll do like a 23andMe.
You should. I mean, Don Costa's a pretty legend.
Don Costa. It's so close to your dad's name.
I know.
We got a Don Coates.
Yeah.
Maybe it's him. He just rearranged his name. Did he play with Sinatra?
Don
He's living a
Ascot.
secret past life I never knew about.
It's entirely possible. Was there a favorite high school memory or favorite time that you decided that music was your thing? Like, was it a moment where you experienced something at the Arc, or was there a door that made you go, I have to go music is my only path?
That's a really interesting question that I got to think about. I do think, like, there's something about, I've talked about this before, but, like, whoever you're listening to when you first learn how to drive is so formative. Like, it just is in your soul forever. And it was Ben Folds for me at the time. So I was, like, just, like, taking the truck out in the back roads of Michigan, like, listening over and over again. And then he came and played the Michigan Theater when I was in high school. And I do think that was probably the moment. I think I still have, like, a journal entry from high school. I was like, I just want to do that for the rest of my life. And then you know, it's so funny. I remember that last night as we were playing at the Arc. I was like, still doing it. Like, it's a lot of years later. I was like,
Lucky you.
I know. There was a time where you're like, no, like, you give up on that dream. You're like, oh, nope, still out here.
Well, for your friends that are watching this from Nashville, Ann Arbor is a neighboring city to Ypsilanti where this is recording, and it's about 45 minutes from Sylvania. Is that correct, where Rachel is from? Sylvania,
Yes.
Ohio, near Toledo.
Yes.
More people are familiar with Toledo than Sylvania, but
It's true.
it's like saying I'm from Plymouth. Where's that? It's near Ann Arbor and Detroit.
Yeah, you get it.
Fair enough. What about your childhood? Where does your musical childhood start?
I have a ridiculously musical family on both sides. My mom's side of the family was big into the bluegrass side of things. My grandfather had a bluegrass band. It was Robert White and the Candy Mountain Express, and that was his project. And my mom played in his band, and my uncle also played banjo and upright bass in his band. But I was the youngest of 10 grandkids, so that moment in time, unfortunately, I didn't get to be fully submerged in because I was too young. I was like maybe just 2 or 3 years old by the time he had gotten a little too old to really do it full time anymore. But they used to all go to like bluegrass festivals in the summertime, and that was just kind of what they did. And then on my dad's side, a little bit more of like a classical oriented mindset. My grandmother actually met my grandfather at Michigan State, where they were both majoring in music. My grandma was the first person to major on upright bass and do music ed at Michigan State.
Wow.
Sometimes people say first female, and she often will correct everybody. And no, first.
First person,
Like,
period.
I see you, Grandma. And yeah, my grandfather played sousaphone in the marching band and went on to do like music business, and he did a lot of like orchestra management stuff and bringing in talent, and he managed the Toledo Symphony for a while, and was famous for bringing in people like Andre Watts for the first time into Toledo. So he was around everywhere. He was in Cincinnati and New York and Hawaii there for a while. So needless to say, very musical family. Like that bled into my dad having a passion for music and my mom. So it was always constant in my upbringing. There wasn't really like a moment where I felt like there was a choice. It's just what you did. Yeah.
The door was not just open, it was left open.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And no choice but to walk through the door.
Yeah.
What instrument did you pick up first? Because I think of you as a bass player.
Whew. That's a great question. I think technically my first instrument was probably singing. My parents put a microphone in my hand before I could walk. So yeah, they love to put me in their gig situation and just have a little kid look cute drooling on a microphone.
Are there videos of that?
God, I hope not. But kind of.
It sounds like Patreon exclusive content. Go ahead, sorry.
If we find it, they'll be the first to know.
Okay.
Yeah, so I sang with my dad a lot. I went out to his gigs when I was a kid, and I'd go run around and play with the kids that were at whatever gig he happened to be doing. And, I'd go up and sing a few songs, and they'd think I was really cute and give me money. And I thought that was awesome.
You make money being
Still
cute?
doing it.
I know.
Nothing's changed.
But instrumentally wise, my grandma made sure to put a violin in my hands before I even knew it was happening. And I did gravitate towards electric bass before anything serious really started, but I would just kind of like noodle on electric guitars and electric basses in my room and just try to like match sounds of notes that were happening in songs while listening. So I can't say for sure what the first official one was, but bass was definitely like my primary underlying thing at the same time. I started on violin in 5th grade when I joined orchestra officially, and I stuck through with that until about 8th grade, and then I switched to upright. So from there on, it was like upright bass all day, every day.
We are getting some bleed, aren't we?
Dude, they are
Just a minute ago, there was
jamming.
nobody here,
It's
and
so
now all of a sudden
early
it's
for
loud. I thought I had blocked out that studio. Anyway, bass players are less common than guitar players. Nothing wrong with that. But was there an inspirational bass player that made you go, that's why I want to do bass?
Ooh, I was really big into No Doubt when I was like in my formative years of music, and I really, really loved their whole sound collectively as a band, like Gwen Stefani versus like the bass player Tony Kanal. That whole combination to me was just like really formative. So nobody really talks about Tony, but he, like, that dude can shred on bass, and what he does in their whole configuration I think is like a really underrated glue in their whole project. I mean, they're not really doing the thing a whole lot anymore, but back then, oh my God, it was so cool.
Cool. Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if it was going to one of the big names, like
Well,
Geddy-
Beatles,
Geddy Lee or,
obviously. Yeah, my dad, huge Beatles fan. So, like, that was just kind of, it went without saying that Paul McCartney is obviously, like, the greatest ever. But in my area of what was new at the time, like, that's definitely where I drew inspiration.
And so, as you guys progress through your musical careers, both of you, sorry, John, I haven't included you yet, but you will. You'll get included. You were touring with other musicians. Like, Rachel, I just saw you with Seth Clear not so long ago.
I know, man. Yeah.
Which was good to catch up, and like it reminded me that you were coming, and I should probably think about having you on the podcast because you're both going to be in the area. Like that, there's always somebody to pick from, but I hadn't really thought about who's next, who's going to be next.
Right.
But then you guys met, even though you grew up pretty close to each other. You met while playing for somebody else. Who were you playing with when you met? Are you allowed to say?
Yeah. It was a project called Hoodost, and they were based out of like southern Kentucky, but they were in Nashville a lot. And we had a mutual friend from this area that reached out to both of us to see if I would play keys in the band and if Rachel would play bass in the band. And we met, and we were like, "You're cool.
You're pretty cool."
But you are, and you're together, and now we're a couple of years into this project, 5 actually.
Yeah,
So
can't even believe that.
it seems to be working out okay.
Still here.
I learned at the show yesterday at the Arc, although this is not yesterday if you're watching it now because we're not airing it live, that there is a album coming out on a label. It's not just self-released. You're gonna have a little team with you.
Yeah.
So if I had a appropriate drink, in a cup, we would toast that. We'll do that. Congratulations, that's cool.
Cheers,
Thank
man.
you.
So from that forthcoming album, before we continue the chat, what would you like to do next? Hopefully not get drowned out by the rock band down the hallway.
Well, we're thinking about doing our really quiet song.
Well, maybe.
From the title track. What do you think? Think we could do it?
Sure.
I was just saying as you were getting the tour, we blocked out a room to prevent the sound, but I apparently didn't block out the right room.
Well, I mean, usually we're pretty good at winning the Who's Louder competition.
Well, you do
but
have the microphones right in front of you,
I
so
know.
we'll see what happens.
We wanted to play this song.
What's
for
the
you.
song called?
It's called Monsters. And it ended up being the song we named our record after. She never boarded up the windows. Grandma likes to say she rode out every storm, fried chicken just the same. Now Dallas brings the lumber, puts new holes in the frame. He never fills in the old ones, calls his mama up in Maine. It's looking bad again. It's what the TV people say. Oh, the water's so much warmer now, but it always looks the same. Lapping at the train tracks, pacing 30 miles wide, while the sun slips behind like fire in the sky. And it's rainbows in your front yard, and it's sirens going wild. Oh, it's always been like this. Don't go soft on us, child. And the waters rise, rolling in the dark, the rain keeping time, beating like your heart, but you sing anyway. While the banjos, they claw hammer, they're all drinking songs. And the monsters outside, oh, they howl along. Trina worries from New York about her brother and their friends. They're still sitting in magnolias, they're still listening to the wind. Well, she found a place in Buffalo, big wide rooms to sleep them all, half of what she pays in Brooklyn, between the highway and the mall. But her grandma and her brother, oh, they're stubborn as they come. They say, go get on the subway, go in, have a little fun, and forget about the troubles that the bayou sings along. Oh, you made it far north enough, you don't need to come back home. And the waters rise, rolling in the dark, the rain keeping time, beating like your heart, but you sing anyway. While the banjos, they claw hammer, they're all drinking songs. And the monsters outside, oh, they howl along.
Beautiful. Waters Rise, the name of the album, and Monsters, the name of the song, right? You get that right without writing things down?
Yes, you nailed it.
Woohoo! Brain works sometimes when you get older. So currently based in 2 cities, it looks like, if I'm reading my reading right.
Yeah.
2 to 24.
Well, Nashville and Killington seem to
Yes.
be homes.
Yes.
Do you have places in both you can stay, I guess, is what it
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
down to.
We
Exactly.
try to split our time as evenly as possible between the two.
Yep.
Depends on the season.
Right. Well, who would want to be in Michigan in winter? Nobody.
I know, you'd think. It's like we end up being up north in the winter and in the south in the summer because it's touring season in the summer. So we stay based out of Nashville and try to go up for snowboarding season in the winter. So it's the opposite of what you'd think, but
Pretty much.
both are a good time.
That's not what I would have expected.
But it's nice to have the option to flip-flop it if the opportunity arises. Like next week, we're actually
Yeah.
well, like in a couple days, actually, we're headed up to Vermont, so we're going to at least get to be there for a week.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to not be in Tennessee.
Oh, because it's hot.
It got hot.
I know. We just
got
spent a
really
week
hot.
in Texas. So
Yeah, man.
can't get the
Also.
wrong direction.
So is Nashville where you met John, who's to your, let's see, right?
Yes.
Stage right.
Yes.
He's my left. I had to think for a second.
we met at a writers round, which you meet a lot of people at writers rounds, and it was Cinco de Mayo. And it was just one of those like, that one,
Yeah.
wow, awesome, like a mutual sort of. That was so cool. Okay, bye. Like, we'll probably never see each other again. And then John reached out to us and asked if we wanted to hop on a tour of his that was happening in like a month or something. He was looking for a bass player and a background vocalist. And we were like, it was like the one free week we had.
Yeah.
And we were like, you know what? Sure.
Let's go
Why
for
not?
So he's not an official member of the band, but
No, but we've done a lot of work together over the last year. Like, it really has kind of beautifully molded into this very give and take kind of. We play with him and he plays with us, and we've been a lot of places together in the last year. So
Yeah.
what's your background, John? Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Central Louisiana, so I kind of grew up playing music. Honestly, a little like the stuff that these guys are doing in the back.
Which, again, where did they come from? A second ago, I was just putting a microphone down the
Placeless,
hall.
yeah.
There was nobody there.
know.
I grew up playing music. My uncle was in a Cajun Zydeco band, so I kind of had him as a resource. But me and my brothers were all self-taught, and I had that decision of like, hey, I could stay in Louisiana and probably play Cajun music if I wanted to do it as a profession, or I could move to Nashville and kind of give it a big swing. So yeah, moved up to Nashville, and as a songwriter, it took a while to kind of get a foundation. So in the meantime, I played sideman guitar for a lot of artists. I was on the Big Machine circuit for a little bit, so I got to do some cool shows with Carly Pearson, Cassidy Pope, and Levi Hummon. So that was great. But in about 2019, I started putting out some more of my original music, and you get back into the writers circuit in Nashville. And that's where I met the girls, and it's nice to see other. They grind on the road, so I think we kind of had that in common of like, hey, we have a lot of tour dates. Kind of as opposed to getting a revolving door of musicians, like let's kind of band together and kind of form an alliance, and that's exactly what we're doing right now.
yeah.
Well, I apologize that I'm not familiar with your music yet.
Oh yeah. Oh no, yeah. We this is something like I primarily have been playing in the South, so
That makes sense then.
Yeah. So it's like coming up to Michigan has been really nice through the girls because I'm getting to meet people like yourself playing at the Arc. We've been playing some small town festivals and kind of just expanding a little bit. And vice versa. We've been going. We did 2 shows at Tipitina's in the last 6 months. New Orleans, which we've got the girls plugged in there a little bit, and just kind of seeing each other's roots.
Cool. Well, nice to meet you and have you be part of
Yeah.
the session. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll let you do one of your own songs later. We'll
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
that in a minute. New album coming out September 2nd. I love the promo photos you got put out for that. Those are very, very tastefully done.
Thank you. Brooke Stevens, man,
Wow.
she kills it in Nashville.
Well done. Looks great. You played a song yesterday at the show that you said is not going to be on the album. So how did you decide what made the album and what didn't make the album? Like, did you have an excess of songs, really?
Honestly, we were just kind of going with what the team was feeling at the time. It was originally going to be a 6-song EP.
Oh.
So we rocked those songs out so well and so quickly, and they turned out so fabulous that they kind of mulled over like, well, maybe we should do this as more of a full-length project. So we were kind of given the choice to pick 4 songs to put out there, and the ones that we chose we love. We couldn't cut any of the 4 that ended up getting cut, and this other one was like, man, if we could just do a 5th song, it'd be great. But they're
Why
just
couldn't you?
It was
11
time.
track. Oh.
time. I'm sure budget.
We did
was a
the
concern.
whole record was done in 4 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it was 2 in October and 2 in January. So we ran out of time.
Well, the song, I
Couldn't do
don't,
it.
I don't remember the title, but you did the one that's not on the album last night. I'm like, that's a great song. I mean, I like that
thank
one a
you.
lot. I wish that was on the album.
Voodoo, baby.
Yeah, Voodoo. No, that-
It's on YouTube. The 3 of
Yeah.
us did a video of it.
You mentioned that. Maybe we'll put that in the notes of this video and the audio portion of this podcast so people can find it if they want to check it out. Was there any sort of theme that went with the writing, or is it just this is what came out in the last 2 years and this is what we wrote?
For the whole record.
Yeah.
I mean, what ended up emerging was sort of a nature theme, like a natural disaster theme, one
Waters
might say.
rise.
But yeah.
Waters rise is a natural death.
I'm just really obsessed with it. I think about it a lot. You know, I think about the future of the planet a lot, and it just, you know, it's very cliche that it comes out in metaphors when you're writing songs and, you know, making metaphors about fire and love and that kind of thing. But it's just like, it's the most elemental thing that I keep coming back to. Like, if you're trying to write, you're trying to find the truth of something, and it's like, we live and die by the rules of the planet. Like, we just do. So it just keeps coming back, and in different ways. And, you know, you think you're writing a song that's very different than another song. You're like, nope, still just like scratching that same itch. You know, trying to understand something. So that, yeah, we didn't really, you know, it's funny, you don't think about these kinds of things until you're asked to answer a bunch of questions for your team.
Sorry.
Yeah.
like, oh,
Sorry
I
to
guess
ask
that
you-
is what we did.
Sorry to ask you questions.
No, I love it. I love it. It's just that you don't get in that analytical mode
Yeah.
when you're in creation mode. And then
Right.
I enjoy that. It's like you discovered something new about what you already did. Like, it's another part of the process that I find really interesting.
Do you write together or do you bring songs to each other?
I would say Luch has just this beautiful well of imagination that is great for song starting, and I mean she can bang out a song all pretty quickly solo, but sometimes there's some tunes that need, you know, a little more crafting and some tweaking and nudging, and I really love coming in at it from like an arrangement perspective and trying to build it into like something bigger than wherever it was. So we do a lot of co-collaborating in building it together. But yeah, I would say Luch is just like an incredible mind with so much imagination and depth. It's just been so fun to tap into that.
No, it really is a beautiful, like, it's such a complimentary situation. I love it because, yeah, I love, you know, that's the part I want to do and can't stop, and I love like the creation of ideas and stuff, and like, but help me, you know, sandpaper these into something that's like more beautiful and polished. It's nice.
Well, it helps you guys became pretty fast friends and connected, and it's probably easy to work on each other's stuff because you like each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's important.
We're very lucky.
How did you choose a producer for this project? Was there somebody you wanted to work with and got them, or is there like just a convenience factor?
Honestly, yes. We have kind of been in Gabe Lee's world, the Torres Music Group world, as friends and co-collaborators. Really, we met Gabe Lee, who's an incredible artist, at a party in Nashville, and it was our other like kind of just magical Nashville friend story where you're just like, this one, okay. And we became friends really quickly, and then he brought me in for his debut record, Farmland, to play dobro. So it was a very stripped down record that he put out under the label that we're all on now. So that's how we met and have just continued to work together since then. So we've known Alex Torres through that for the past few years, and he's just a great human. He's just like, it really is, we're just working with our friends constantly. But he's got, you know, he works really hard. He cares so much. He makes great music with people, and he's really just like a truly organic, like, he just wants the songs to fly. You know, he's one of those guys that just gets it, and he wants his artists to go out there and do what they do best. And that, for me, like, you can't ask for anything more in somebody that's going to support your work. So,
Well, he also has a great crew of folks at that Farmland studio that kind of do help to shape everything that comes out of there.
It's like a house band.
So there's basically like a three-way production credit on our record, and it's Alex, Gabe, and this guy David Dorn, who does most of the production work out of Farmland, and they're all just together. We had such a great time putting this
They're
thing together.
magic. They really are.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's a lucky find then.
It really is.
I was looking as prep for the interview to see, you know, what kind of online presence you have as a band, and there were some really nice videos. You called the Treehouse Sessions.
Yeah.
Nice touch on the costume changes, by the way. In case I didn't watch them back to back to back.
Thanks, Dillards.
I would think that they were all recorded at different times, but they weren't. The Ship Life videos were entertaining.
Oh.
Tell me a little bit about Ship
my
Life.
God.
Oh man, you went deep
You did.
into the ocean deep. Oh man, so Luch and I, we just had a wild idea one day, as all of our adventures start. Are we doing this? We were like, man, what if we tried to do like a cruise ship gig? Because like I think we had seen some sort of promotional like ASCAP or BMI suggestion for like artists who are really just trying to get started and get the ball rolling. What are some things you can do? And they suggested trying to do a cruise ship type of thing, and we're like, well,
Yeah.
it could be fun.
Why not?
And on a whim, we submitted an application through Carnival Cruise Lines, and we didn't really put a ton of effort into this application. It was just like two 20 to 30-second clips of some really obnoxious country music. I used quotations.
It was like half of Blank Space by Taylor Swift shot in a bar.
And I think some Redneck Woman might have made it in there too. So we applied as a country duo, I think, and like within a few weeks we got an offer, and we're like, oh.
We thought we'd get like an audition or something.
Yeah.
And they're just like, here's your contract. Here's the name of the ship. Wow. We're like, oh my God.
Here's when you leave and here's when you come back. I was like, oh.
Gosh, I hope you have a passport. Are you ready?
Yeah, exactly.
And then we didn't actually take that first contract because we were not prepared to do it that quickly. But we ended up taking a second one and got all of our ducks in a row. And we went out Carnival Breeze for a couple months, and we played our butts off, and we partied our butts off, and we came back totally different people on the other side.
Made some YouTube videos.
And you had some fun.
Oh, we had a great time.
God, it was so awesome.
Yeah.
So that begs a new question. Do you consider yourself country, folk, Americana, or nothing? Is there a tag? Do you need a tag?
Oh, there's a tag.
Oh, there's a tag.
You want to hear the
I don't
tag?
think the world needs the tag, but there is one.
We've got it. Go for it. Give it to them.
All right. So we've decided our genre is lipstick, dirtbag, Americana.
Okay.
Yep.
That's original.
Yeah.
And now you need to cover Teenage Dirtbag. Move on.
Oh, I would love that.
Absolutely.
That's a great tune. Well, you've done all kinds of gigs. I saw you in a listening room last night. You just talked about the bar gigs. Which kind do you prefer? Do you prefer the fun, rowdy, drink-along crowd, or do you prefer the listening room like you had last night?
Dude,
That's a fascinating question.
I feel like it's great to have experienced both extremes, but we really try to bring a little bit of that party into a listening room atmosphere.
Big Girl Cups does that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But also vice versa. Like I feel really lucky, especially up in Killington when we play at the bars. Like it turns into a listening room. If you're like, hey, we wrote this song, like we worked really hard on it, and it's a quiet song. They'll you can get a bar to be quiet.
It's nice.
Yeah. So I don't know if I have a preference. I really like the blend of
it's all
trying
about
to turn
the
one
blend.
into the other one.
I think that you can't just go 100% one way. We go a little cray-cray, I think, if we're forced or backed into a corner.
Yeah.
There's just something about it being a stuffy listening room. Not saying that all listening room situations are stuffy, but it's definitely like, you better be quiet. I kind of like to take that element out of it and just try to have a little bit more looseness to it. But the fact that we can turn a rowdy bar gig into like, wait, the girls are singing something.
We just like the opposite of wherever we are.
I would expect the opposite myself.
We like a challenge.
You guys are certainly having fun. Is there a best place for you guys to write new music while you're on the road, while you're home, while you're...
Definitely not on the road. That's a skill I feel like we have to learn soon.
I think that we really hash out a lot of things we want to do while on the road, and when we have time in a stable situation for like a week or a couple days or whatever, we'll crank out an idea and get something going, and then finish it as we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do need to do that more.
You get inspiration on the road.
Yeah.
And I feel like coming home is kind of like when you have the headspace to start writing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what inspired the next song you're going to play? Tell me the story before you play.
I don't think I can because we were going to toss it over
Oh, well, then we'll
to
toss
John
it
to
over.
play one. If that's, would you? Because I was also thinking too, like that is something I love about the three of us and how we have kind of been able to give each other like each other's situations, because I love just being able to rock out at the same time, and that's something we get to do in John's band a lot. Is like just I get to like play organ and like go back to my piano playing roots and just completely like headbang, and it's a good time.
Well, then I'll toss the question to John.
Yeah,
John, tell me about the
is that
song
cool?
you're about to play.
It's a song called "Reckless Love" that I wrote with Henry Collin in Nashville, and we've had a lot of fun with it on the road, especially with King Margo hopping in the band, because we get this chorus turned into a massive 3-part.
Well, then I'll leave their microphones on.
Oh, sure.
There you go.
So we put the song out in March, like mid-March, and we're still kind of riding out a little bit of that wave. And we had a little bit of traction on Americana radio. On this guy, it broke in for a couple of weeks. It broke into the top 100 on their radio campaign, and we're very excited about that. But I'm gonna play it for you. It's called "Reckless Love." You've been walking a fine line between what's right and what you've always known. Baby, go in the distance. Oh, you got yourself a ways to go now. Come on, baby, let's roll down the road. You take it all for granted, living life like a loaded gun. You know I can't stand it, just young and dumb, coming undone with a heartbreaker on the run. Put your money now where your mouth is. Your lips are moving on and you ain't saying nothing at all. I was tripping, no, you were drowning, just sinking right out and fall. But hell, I don't mind. Oh, if you don't mind that little reckless love. Take control. Maybe this is all in vain. So come on, baby, what you say is go ahead and blow me away. Well, I said, put your money now where your mouth is. Your lips are moving, honey, you ain't saying nothing at all. I was tripping, no, you were drowning, just sinking right out in the fall. I don't mind. Oh, if you don't mind that little reckless love. Oh, that little reckless love. Oh, I'm ready now. I'm ready now. Oh, baby, life's like a fever dream. So come on and lay right on me, right on me. Oh, I said, put your money now where your mouth is. Your lips are moving, honey, you ain't saying nothing at all. I was tripping, no, you were drowning, sinking right out in the fall. But hell, I don't mind. Oh, if you don't mind that little reckless love. Hell, I don't mind. Oh, if you don't mind that little reckless love.
That is damn catchy. I'm tapping my toes going, I like this song and I want to hear it again. In fact, we should probably encourage people to go listen to it professionally recorded, because what we just did was not the greatest. Not because of you, but because of the microphone limitations that I have here and just the way we've got this set up. I probably should have that microphone more at your face, so feel free to move that towards your face a little bit more. If people want to find that song, what's the best place for them to find you and your songs?
My last name is John Hollier. It's a Cajun last name, Hollier. So when I moved to Tennessee, it became Hollier. So at Hollier Music. You can check that out on Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube or Instagram. We got plenty of information out there on that.
There you go. Thank you for doing that and for joining us today.
Thanks for letting me play a song.
I would say that was my pleasure, and I think it's going to be everybody's pleasure once they go, hey, and then go listen to the real version.
This was the real version.
No.
Yeah,
I just meant
right.
what I'm trying to say, John, is you deserved a better mix than that.
Oh,
You deserved a better mix than that for sure, and I wish I could have done it
It's
better.
like half our shows.
I embrace this moment because this is what we do so often. So it is the real, I love that about touring and traveling.
Yes, well, I would say pull that mic up towards you a little bit more. Anyway, so that begs does King Margo ever see themselves incorporating a third member, whether it's John or not? Do you ever think about expanding what is the base of your band?
Well, we've had that conversation, with the team, and for now, it makes the most sense to kind of roll it as a duo. It's easiest for all the folks that we've collaborated with to pursue their things, and whoever can hop in when it works out. If there's space to do it as a trio, we certainly do that.
You said doo-doo.
I did say doo-doo.
Busted. Oops.
But yeah, we are the duo, but we're just really stoked to be able to bring anybody else in with us that can help enhance what we're already doing.
Totally.
Yeah,
Well
and
said.
Nice choice.
John does a great job of that. Yeah.
No, for sure. So road, really is where you live most of the time. I would imagine, because that's
These
how you make a
days.
living at this point. You've been Midwesterners as, where you're born, and you've been to other places. Do you connect with people in other places more so than Midwesterners? Do you find that you are more drawn to a different part of the country than you are from? People are different in other places. We know this.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I vibe with the South a lot.
Okay.
There is something about just kind of I laugh at this all the time, but it is a very almost familiar Italian feeling of just really warm, open, excitable people that works for me really well.
Bommarito, Costa.
We also, yeah, exactly.
That's Italian girl.
I really loved spending time in Nebraska, of all
Yeah.
places. We got to do some shows with our buddy Tyler Halverson, who's a great songwriter as well. He's from South Dakota. He took us out for a run in Nebraska and South Dakota. And
In January.
I know, it's
we had
the
a good
further
time.
apart everything is, and the worse conditions you live in, the nicer the people.
That's true.
But
Yeah.
they were so nice. I had such a good time out there.
Rachel, are you drawn to a different part of the country than...
I will definitely echo what Luch said. There is something about going someplace remote to where folks just they don't get a ton of people that come just to see them, so it means more to them. You go into a city and you got to work really hard to get a few people to come out, even when there's so many people.
Yeah.
And it's not like that when you're in a rural area. The same folks go to the same places all the time, and that's just what they do. That being said, I can't say there's any one area. I thought that I would have a specific place at this stage of what we're doing. I
Yeah.
thought there'd be that's my spot for me. But the more we expand and play in different areas, the more I love it being different
I
all
know.
the time.
Totally.
You never really know what you're gonna get on any night, but it's just, I don't know, it's fuel for the fire in a way. I love Texas. I never thought that sentence would come out of my mouth.
I was just gonna say that too. We're very much falling in love with Texas right now.
Texas, we were on a run with Gabe Lee last week, and folks really turned out for him, and he's still really just kind of getting things going. But all the folks that were there were just so sweet and so supportive, and just genuinely nice people.
Yeah.
And being from the north up here, southern states get a bad rap because it's all politicized and stuff. But at the end of the day, people are people, and there are really great people everywhere.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, when you are on the road, since you kind of have two home bases, do you ever miss home?
Always.
Which is the one you miss?
We miss them both.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I miss everywhere all the time. I do. But it's a good thing because
Yeah.
we love a lot of places.
Well, that is a good thing. I would have trouble deciding where I wanted to be more if I have two places to pick from, like you guys do, which is a nice luxury.
Yeah.
they both have their appeal, I suppose.
Totally. We really do genuinely miss both when we're in one, you miss the other. But
Yeah,
it's part of the charm.
when it's been a few months in one place, like as the anchor, you always go, man, I just really miss the other one. Not that we're not appreciating where we're at the time. It's just like, it's, we're lucky.
I know.
to get
It's
to
also
do what
turning
we
into
do.
days. Like, it was months, now it's days. We're like, where are we going?
What's next?
As you're touring around the country, what is the toughest room you've ever played? The one you're like, oh god.
Oh, my
man.
God.
You want us to throw somebody under the bus?
Well, you don't have
toughest
to.
room.
If you don't want to, because this is permanent. This is not like a temporary
This is a
interview.
great
This
question.
stays online.
It
So.
stays, it stays public. Don't worry.
It's a mean question if you don't want to answer it. You can skip it.
I gotta
Fast forward.
really try to think of it. The toughest room. Do you have an answer? Do you have
There
an
doesn't
answer?
have to be an answer.
I mean, we got really nervous to play the Bluebird
Oh,
for the first time.
Be
That
intimidating, sure.
surprised me. I wouldn't call it a tough room, but it's a very intimidating room.
history.
Yes, the
Yeah.
pressure of like representing, which is it's
Self-induced.
all made up. Yeah.
Sure.
It's nothing to do with the room itself or the people.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But it's a very quiet room too.
Yeah.
Like it's a very Nashville. We did. It's like we thought everyone was hating it because they're so just like stone faced and like no expressions and just like we're like, oh, we're blowing this.
Bombing.
And then people were so nice. They absolutely loved it. It was like the feedback after the show was incredible. But that is the most nervous I've been for a show.
Okay.
In so damn long.
That's a great
That's an
point.
acceptable answer. Tough cannot be like I didn't have a good experience.
It wasn't
could
hostile,
be. It could be
but
like, oh my god, that was
yes,
really difficult
Very
here.
much
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for answering that. All right. So I know you like the producer you worked with, but what if money were no object and you could pick any producer living to work on your record, your next record, not the one that's coming out?
I mean, it'd be really nice to like actually make our current producers some money. So
Yes, I know, but
still
like,
pretty loyal to him.
like Dave Cobb, Rick Rubin,
I
somebody
mean,
like
yeah,
that.
of course,
Yeah.
of course. I really like Olivia Rodrigo's producer. I'll be honest. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's like Dan Nigiro or something like
I'm not sure
that.
how it says it either.
He's just weird, and I really like that. But he makes it like super clean and really appealing. He's worked with a couple other artists that are like very much not in like the Olivia Rodrigo pop world, and I like his brain. I think it just always ends up being like really listenable, but like very strange at the same time.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, one final question before one final song. If King Margo was to endorse a product, what would it be?
Lunchables.
For Starbucks. I don't know.
Chevrolet.
Oh, Chevy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big Chevy people.
Big truck people.
Big truck guys.
I wonder if they're listening.
We do have a whole like side. We had to like say what our dream like press outlets were for a bunch of this record stuff we had to turn in. It's like my genuine answer is like I really want to be in Chevrolet magazine so bad. And we want one of their like electric Silverados that's coming out in 2
Oh, I
years. Or,
know.
like, it's the long game with Chevy,
Yes,
but
yes. I
I'm
mean,
committed.
well, I mean, if we were going back to the previous album, and even though it's already been done as a song, you could have been like the solo cup endorsers because of Big Girl cups. It could have been.
That's true.
Could have been that.
It's a lot of product placement we could have had.
Could have had
They
that,
don't want
yeah.
us, but
All right. The new album's coming out September 2nd. It's called Waters Ride. King Margo has a website too, I'm sure.
we
Is it-
do. We just redid it ourselves.
It is.
KingMargo.com.
You got
Yeah.
you got the domain without arguing with it.
Yeah, we did.
I'm lucky enough to have John Bommarito. Somebody snatched it up for me and then sold it to me, which was really nice.
Wait, really?
A friend of mine, yeah. So,
Oh, that's good.
yeah, so
Oh,
lucky.
not like Russia.
No. He nabbed it and then let me continue
awesome.
making the payments.
That's a
which
good
was,
friend.
Yeah, it is a good friend.
Yeah.
You might actually know him. We'll talk about that when we get off the recording. What final song would you like to do from Waters Rise?
So we're gonna do our first single, actually, that's coming out on July 15th. So we're kind of on the low-key, unofficial single drop tour that started Wednesday and ends July 15th when the song comes out.
Well, this should be out before then. This should be out next week. So
Awesome.
Cool.
It's called Floodlights and Sequins. Here's a pirate bird's nest, can't get no mail with no address. Speeding tickets, bookmarking magazines, 10 things, 11 bed, and nice face cream. Hey, it takes all night to look this good all day. Why punch the clock when there's another way? Hey there, baby, got a hell of a mouth. No one makes them quite like they do in the South. Let me buy you dinner, show you a good time. Vodka soda with a twist of lime. Now it's bleeding on the pavement under neon signs. It pays the bills if you do it right. Mama always said how to get it done. Break his heart with a kiss, take the money and run. Fingernails painted, getting fingerprints, stamp looking good in black, dodging the blue and red. Living the low life, street and them highlights. It's bangs and break-ins, floodlights and sequins. Bangs and break-ins, floodlights and sequins. Wants to be seen but can't be caught. Wearing dollar store lipstick on the boss man's yacht. In between the caviar and Chardonnay, tying up the bite in her lingerie. Shame he couldn't wait until the creme brulee. Now he's floating face down at a Mobile Bay. Mama always said how to get it done. Break his heart with a kiss, take the money and run. Fingernails painted, getting fingerprints, stamp looking good in black, dodging the blue and red. Living the low life, streaking them highlights. It's bangs and break-ins, floodlights and sequins. Bangs and break-ins, floodlights and sequins. Never let him see you sweat. Yeah, there's a spray for that. Never let him see you cry. It'll ruin that smoky eye. Yeah, never let him take it again. Yeah, that's called revenge. Mama always said how to get it done. Break his heart with a kiss, take the money and run. Fingernails painted, getting fingerprints, still looking good in black, dodging the blue and red. Living the low life, streaking them highlights. Living the low life, streaking at midnight. His bangs and break-ins, floodlights and sequins. Bangs and break-ins, floodlights and sequins. Bangs and break-ins, floodlights and sequins. Bangs and break-ins, floodlights and sequins.
That is a fun song, and one I think the Dixie Chicks should actually record. I think that would be good for them.
That'd be awesome.
And it also has the answer to the question I just asked. The endorsement product should be a spray for your sweat. This is something to help promote the single. I'm here to help.
Axe
You
body
guys.
spray.
Well, some other kind. Don't name it Axe because that's already taken. Put your own stamp on it.
I like it.
It's King Margo body spray.
It's just made of like bourbon.
Sure.
Can we whip that out in like 2 weeks?
There you go. Rachel, great to see you. Luciana, great to see you as well. Nice to meet you as well. John, King Margo's album coming out September 2nd. Check out the website for details about that. Pre-orders available soon.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for taking time out of your tour schedule to come say hi.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Yeah,
We were really looking forward to this.
My pleasure. More information about them, again, kingmargo.com. If you want to find out about Acoustic Alternatives, go to johnbommarito.com, look for the Acoustic Alternatives tab, and find out about the radio show and the video playlist and the the podcast. So thanks again. We'll see you soon again, I hope.
Woo, woo, woo.